Oh. All right. Jojo, go to your bed. Come on, man. My dog. Jojo, go to your bed.
No
Go to your bed.
worries. No
Come on.
worries.
He's got to be in the shot. It's
That's
important.
right.
All
That's
right.
right.
Hello,
That's
everybody.
right.
Welcome. Welcome to Honey Badger Arcade. My name is Brian. I'm here with John, the problematic white guy, and my dog Jojo, who is a bit camera shy, but he is here.
Indeed.
Thanks, bud. You
Right.
can rest now. All right, and yeah, so welcome to the show. This is the Week in Culture, where we discuss the cultural news of the week, and I try to like do a bit of a deeper dive into things, or at least look at what I think is going on that a lot of people that are sort of like casual, let's say normies that are in the gaming and culture space might miss. So thank you, John, for joining me. How are you doing today?
Oh, awesome as always. I have been up. I've been sitting in this chair since God. I think 6 p.m. Eastern yesterday.
Whoa.
More or less. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I did it. I woke up, got ready to do the stream with Toasty. She hit 1,000 followers here on Rumble
Nice.
yesterday, so we did a celebration stream. Yep, and it was a great time. And from there, I had somebody who needed to talk to me about some stuff, so I ended up talking to them till about 2:30 in the morning. I still hadn't had a chance to make the thumbnail for today's show yet, and at that point in time, someone else was trying to get a hold of me. I was like, "Look, I've been sitting in this chair for like over 6 hours right now. I got to take care of this thumbnail. I'll let you know when I got finished." And thankfully, I was able to put that together fairly easily using the 4K video that we'll be checking out later today. And then when I got done with that, I ended up having a conversation till about 6 a.m., 7 a.m. my time. So I guess 8 a.m. Eastern almost. And then I was getting ready to try to get like a 2-hour nap in. And Will goes and says, "Hey, I want to do a game stream. If you show up, John, and we can get people to get to halfway on the donations, I've made an AI, titty clip of the girls from Metal Gear Solid, which I asked him personally to do." And so he's like, "I wanted to show you." I was like, "Fine, I'll go. I'll hang out. I'll play games with you guys until I get the link." And so I've been playing Jackbox Game Moves over on Will of the Fans channel. So they might either be rating us at some point in time or whenever we finish. I plan to go back and if you stay till the end of the show with us, everybody, we got something extra special with the cake today. I have early release beta keys for for the thing on the thumbnail.
For the thing on the thumbnail. We'll be talking about that definitely later on. So stick around for that.
Yeah.
It should be it's very cool. It looks really good and it's not paused as far as I can tell. So that's important as well.
Yes.
Well, anyway, so this might be, so I've been doing a little bit of research into what are the ideal lengths for streaming. Okay. And the reason why is because sometimes I do streams over at Honey Badger Radio and they go for like 3 hours. And I have this feeling that they're like not getting, like we're not retaining people. Okay. And I think that there's a couple of things you can do. Number one, be really engaging, which I try to. And it's not necessarily easy because I don't necessarily think I'm the most charismatic guy, but I do my best to keep people interested because I think that the content is important. The conversation more so, even more so is important. But the other thing is that if a stream goes for longer than 2 hours, people will start to tune out. It starts to feel like a drag unless again you have like Alex Jones on or something. And unfortunately I don't have that luxury. Otherwise I could do streams for hours and hours and everybody would keep watching because Alex Jones is fun to watch. But
I have been called Alex Jones of the game industry, but I am not.
You have been?
I have been.
You could be. I could see that.
Yeah.
But so yeah, so today's stream might be like an hour and a half, maybe a little bit longer. If there is enough interest and there's enough energy, we'll take it to the full 2. But I might just shoot for an hour and a half and see how that goes. So anyway, that being said, then I'm going to ask that you guys please like the stream so I can reach as many people as possible. Share it, especially if you're on Rumble, because I'm trying to focus on my Rumble channel to grow it so that I don't need to stream to YouTube. And not that I mind you guys that are on YouTube, but I think that Rumble is a better platform for freedom of speech and that's what I'm very concerned with. So if you guys could please watch me on Rumble. Now I'm
I
going to
am
give all of the,
also
yeah, go ahead.
I am also using the Rumble link for the link that we're going to send back to the guys working on Defect for their internal
Nice. Are they
whatnot.
on Rumble too?
I'm not sure if they are,
Okay. They
but
should be. Yeah.
yeah, one of my friends I went to college with still is very much in tight conversation with the guys, the head developer of Defect. So he got the beta key and he immediately like, John, here's beta. And I was like, talk about timely. I'm getting ready to go and do this stream. And I was like, hey, just let him know that I'm going to go and offer these out. We're going to kind of do a hype thing for the game today. So hopefully, we are not being paid to do this. I just clearly,
Mhm.
I have known about this game for over a year. When it first came out, I found out about it on a Facebook post from the guy I went to college with, the head developer of this game, and it looks fucking great. Mick Gordon, who did the music for Doom and Doom Eternal, he did not do the music for Doom: The Dark Ages. That was done by AI, and as you can tell, it is certainly a lesser game than Doom and Doom Eternal. But the music's on point. The gameplay is, it's just wait, it'll be great.
Yeah, we're going to look at that. It does look really great. But
Yeah.
firstly, let me give a shout out to the people that are watching, especially you early adopters. So welcome to the stream. To Deadly Do Right, what's up, man? On Rumble, Master Goa, good morning. Good morning to you too. D503 says hello, and then he says 12 hours. No, sir, can't do that. Make it to where like my wife and I don't have to work, and I'll definitely do like full day streams if you guys want.
Right.
And I could do DJing, I could do whatever. Geometry Dash says Sigma King. Well, thank you. I don't know if you're referring to me or John, but I appreciate the comment. And then D503 says, to be honest, HBR is a bit depressing, especially when listening to all content. Sometimes it feels a little bit repetitive and also too feminine. Not bad, but I get it. Sometimes I feel like, and this is something we're going to talk about today, actually. So I'm glad you brought this up about the depressing content. I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, so stick around for that. I don't have a ton of stories, but I just want to touch on a few that I think are just to clear the air on and maybe use them as an opportunity to sort of give what I try to do on this channel is give a different perspective. Um, and I'm all about the optimism. That's my, I mean, not because I'm delusional, but because I think there is genuine cause for optimism. I think that despite all of the struggles, for example, in the gaming industry and the film industry and all these other things that we used to depend on to, entertain us and to inform us and to, I mean, like stories impart wisdom, right? And this is why we're attracted to them because we do get something out of it. But unfortunately, the mainstream hasn't been doing that. But that doesn't mean that all is lost because a lot of people are creating their own things, and this is what we try to direct folks towards, and also to be able to figure out like whether or not you're getting something real and good or something not so good.
Indeed.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. Well, as you were saying, stories impart wisdom. Narrative design imparts ignorance.
yes,
That is the
exactly.
big difference between those two dichotomies.
Yeah.
But go ahead. Yeah.
They're like blinders, right? So
Right.
anyway, with all that said, let's get into today's story. So the first thing we got to talk about is Emiru. So I want to get this out of the way. It's kind of an old story, but I don't think we talked about it last week. So I don't think we did, but I didn't I'm not sure because I've had to talk about this story a few times.
No, guess we would have talked about it last week. We would have mentioned how like Dan Clancy looks like an even older version of me, which
Yeah.
is I've been told that so many times this week that it's just like, don't make me cut my hair. Don't. I'm letting my beard stay shaggy until Halloween because I'm gonna be the dude. I'm gonna be Big Lebowski.
For any of you guys who are fortunate enough to not know who Emiru is, and I don't really know, but I've seen her videos around because I watch YouTube for as part of my job. Like I watch to see what other people are talking about, especially in the cultural space. You will come across streamers, right? So I see a lot of Asmongold in my feed, and because I occasionally click on an Asmongold video because he's talking about something happening in the world, I will get recommendations for other Twitch streamers, and Emaru is one of them. Now, Emaru is just like, I guess, like a really popular girl streamer that does cosplays, acts really nerdy and awkward, and basically attracts like an entire horde of orbiters and simps.
Mm-hmm.
And when she got so big, I think she's got like a couple million subs. She was at a meet and greet in TwitchCon this year in San Diego, and a fan approached her, grabbed her, and attempted to forcibly kiss her while she was speaking to attendees. This was captured on video. There's a clip that went viral everywhere, and it showed a personal security guard of hers intervening immediately to push the man away while Emaru was escorted off stage by her manager. And she later stated she was freaked out and screamed during the attack, which you can hear in the video clip. So the only thing I want to say about this, well, there's a couple of things. One is that the Twitch CEO, is that his name?
Dan Clancy.
The CEO of Twitch, Dan Clancy.
Yeah.
He ended up doing an interview with Taylor Lorenz.
Ugh.
And if you guys don't know, Taylor Lorenz is a notoriously woke journalist. So this was my problem, was the essentially what happened was you get like these journalist activists that descend on an event and they see an opportunity to take this isolated incident to make a let's say a broad claim about an entire culture, right? Or an entire group of people, in this case men. And that was basically my primary concern. And of course, normie people, like Emaru included, are going to essentially buy into that propaganda. So she did I think she did like I don't know, like a live whatever, someone on Twitch, where she talked about her experience, and she claimed that first of all, she criticized Twitch's handling of the incident, alleging that the man was allowed to cross multiple barriers and walk past other meet and greets to reach her without being stopped. She claimed that several TwitchCon security personnel were present nearby, but they did not react, and that the man was allowed to walk away freely. She disputed Twitch's statement that the individual was immediately caught and detained, asserting that he was not apprehended until hours later, only after her manager pressed for action. Emaru also alleged that Twitch security staff were joking about not seeing the incident afterwards, and that no TwitchCon staff checked on her to see if she was okay. In response, Twitch stated that the safety of attendees was its highest priority and condemned the behavior as unacceptable and deeply upsetting. The company claimed the individual was immediately blocked from returning to TwitchCon and banned indefinitely from both online and in-person Twitch events. Twitch also said it was coordinating with law enforcement and had increased security at meet and greet areas. However, Emaru rejected these claims, stating that she did not feel cared for or protected despite bringing her own security.
Right. And I was gonna say I'd have to press X to doubt on this whole thing.
Okay. Yeah. What are your
thoughts?
Well,
I mean, X to doubt in terms of what Twitch is saying, because here's some interesting bedfellows. All right. So we were talking about Hassan last week and Kaya and all the stuff, right? And if not here, I'm sure you've talked about it elsewhere. But in one of the clips, Dan Clancy's at his house, right? Where the cycle of abuse, where Kaya was raised to be humiliated by other dogs and attacked, and he thought it was funny. And then he had a Christmas or a birthday party, and Kaya ended up attacking one of the dogs there at the event. Dan Clancy was literally there in the house when that happened, and Hassan didn't have the shock collar on her at that point in time, and so because he was trying to act like, oh, my dog's so well trained, but so Dan Clancy directly connected to Hassan, which is the reason why he won't do anything against him. And then he just had this interview with Taylor Lorenz, and if you ever encounter a woman named Taylor, do not engage. That is the quickest sign that a woman is not worth your time, is she's going to be named Taylor, because she's probably has pretentious parents to even think that that's a good name to begin with. She's probably going to be really woke as fuck. But so Dan Clancy to Taylor Lorenz, right? And Taylor Lorenz, of course, helped Alyssa get her job with Rolling Stone, right? Mm-hmm. And then, of course, Alyssa has her obsession with Hassan, and she also... So Twitch is just a vile place in general. And you know how you say you don't hate the media enough. Clearly, like, they're platforming these, you know, fucking supposed influencers that get no they get away with just about everything, right?
Yeah.
On that platform. And then they don't actually provide legitimate security in a public setting. Like, there's so many things, so many immediate things that you can point to in this situation that went wrong that shouldn't have, but obviously did. That's why when they're sitting here saying they did everything they could, that's where I'm saying that's what I say X'd out on. Like, they
Oh yeah,
did
yeah.
not do fuck all
They're just
for the
no.
situation.
They're
There's
just
just cover.
saying, yeah, they're just covering their ass by saying
Right.
that.
Right.
But the thing is too, I think that yes, I agree with everything you said. I think that the Twitch staff or whatever, the TwitchCon folks,
Hmm.
they did not take these kinds of dangers seriously enough that, because if you're famous, no matter what, like male or female, whatever, and you go out in public, there is a risk. Like it's just the way. That's just the risk of being famous. Period.
Hmm.
Right? That's a risk of celebrity, and this is why celebrities are usually, you know, um, they usually like are surrounded by security, or they don't really go out in public, or they go out in sort of incognito, because they don't want to be spotted in public, because they don't know how, people can be loony. Like, you don't know, right, what's going to happen.
Right.
So like this is just like a thing everyone knows. If you guys remember, guys, the Beatles, for example, going back to the 60s, like they when Beatlemania was at its height, there were like women chasing these guys everywhere. It wasn't just like a music video. Like they
Right.
were literally worried for their safety. And also I want to point out two things. One, when this incident happened, her security, even if TwitchCon security wasn't up to snuff, she had a guy that was there that acted immediately. And this is important because they're trying to make a claim not about Twitch, but about like all conventions everywhere.
Hmm.
And not just that, but all men that attend conventions everywhere. This is why Taylor Lorenz talking about the story is a problem, because that's
Right.
the way she's going to frame this, even
Right.
though it should be the fault of Twitch itself, TwitchCon, whoever's involved with that. Like,
Right.
her security guard was a man and he stepped in immediately. And if you contrast that, I don't know if I talked about this with you on this show, but I believe we did talk about this a while back, a couple weeks ago. There
Mhm.
was a convention for romantasy, so it's
Yeah.
like dark female romance novels, called Sinners and Stardust. And there was a guy there who was like a cosplayer, just like Emaru. So he was a
Right.
cosplayer, and he was dressed up in an outfit like a wolfman or something. I'm not really sure. And there were so many women grasping at him and groping him that he had a panic attack. He couldn't tell how many hands there were. They were being extremely aggressive. So this is one like one dude that tried to get a kiss, which again, I think that that's a problem. I think that guy should be banned. I think they could look into some legal consequences. I'm not
Hmm.
like, saying throw him in jail forever. I think that's extreme, but like, whatever. If it's a misdemeanor, I don't know, because she wasn't hurt, obviously. She was just sort of, rattled by it, I guess. But this guy was like straight up
Well,
assaulted, and
I
they,
can say for a fact that you can get third-degree assault charges in most states just for yelling at someone. So if you go and actually invade their personal space and kiss them,
yeah.
yeah, that's at least that's at least a third-degree misdemeanor.
Sure,
At
but
least.
that's what I'm saying. I'm sure
Yeah.
that there is a legal thing, that a legal route
Yeah.
they can take, and again, I'm
Yeah.
I'm for that. But what I'm saying is the contrast is that this guy
Yeah.
at this convention, he was, extremely sexually assaulted by groped all over his body, to the point
Right.
where his makeup, like his body paint, was like rubbing off,
Right.
and it was supposedly body paint that wasn't easy to smudge. So it was like supposedly that, so like the oils from their hands was that potent. And when
Right.
he got back to his hotel room, he found out that somebody had put an air tag on him, which is
Right.
essentially a tracing device, so they could
Right.
like find where he was. So
Right.
this, and again, this didn't get the same kind of
Well, of
treatment. Like
course
Taylor
not.
Lorenz didn't do a whole thing on it, and it's not going to become, because I don't know if you guys remember, but this is like an old thing. This was from 2015,
Hmm.
2013, maybe, called "Cosplay is Not Consent," which
Right.
basically operates on this presumption that if you're wearing cosplay as a woman, because that's really what this is
Right.
about. It's not about men in
Right.
cosplay. If
Right.
you're a woman in cosplay, then there are men everywhere looking for an opportunity to do something to you that is untoward, and
Right.
it operates under that presumption, this kind of like collective blame. Instead of just, you know, if somebody breaks a law or a rule, then okay, like let's persecute that.
Right.
That's fine, but that's not what these things are intended to create, a kind of like
Well,
social fear around men at
right.
conventions.
This would fall under that concept of narrative design, because you're going and you're omitting aspects of things and trying to create a an ideological mindset and reinforce a fictitious standard. Because yes, throughout history, men get assaulted by women far worse, especially good-looking dudes in prominent positions. You look at the way that we've been dealing with the last 10 to 15 years of the uglification of women in games, but men are still just as topless and jacked up and what the hell is ever.
Yeah.
Look at fucking two hammers, one cuck. Thor: Love and Thunder. Um,
Oh,
you know, right? Like that movie, he's completely stripped down to fucking nothing. But women, you can't do that. And women in Disney movies, in Disney Marvel movies, things like that, they're dressed from head to toe in bodysuits and all
sure.
this kind of
Well,
stuff. Like,
they're trying to correct things, but
right.
they're
But it's
it's
it's a complete double standard, though,
no,
and that's
there's nothing to correct. That wasn't
right,
even the case. Like,
right,
it was like this idea that men find women attractive means that women are not being, like, they're intentionally being presented as objects.
right,
So you
right,
have to like have a sort of like such a let's say uncharitable way of seeing the way men see women, that
right.
just men admiring women. Like, like for example, like the Sao, I think her name is. So there was like the Sydney Sweeney ad
Mhm,
that was going around about the jeans, right? And
right.
then someone shared a picture of Sydney Sweeney alongside a picture of a just a Japanese salary woman,
Mhm,
and the Japanese salary woman is fully clothed. She's not showing off her boobs. She's got like a folder in her hand or a laptop or something, and
mhm.
she's making a cute face. And they're like, "Which way, Western man?" Right? Or they're basically asking, and everybody was like, she went super viral. So
Right,
like, but men found her attractive not because of like how sexualized she was. It was
right.
just because she was like, you know, demure and feminine and whatever,
Mhm,
right? So like, this flies in the face of the assumptions that are made about the way men
right,
view women. And so when they do this Thor: Love and Thunder thing, or like the way that they sort of like turn men into himbos and all that, they think that they're doing like like a balance,
right,
and but it's not true. Like, it's just revenge, like, it's
right,
revenge for something that didn't happen. So it's
right.
like for no reason.
That, and the point that you bring up about men being groped in mass, like, all right, because
Yeah.
this the thing I enjoy about doing this show with you is you have a very different background than I do, and like we have very different kind of viewpoints of the world. Because me working in the porn shop for as many years as I did, I knew a lot of people that I know people that are actually in adult films, people that worked in strip clubs, all this kind of stuff. Men in strip clubs get away with absolutely nothing, but
No, of course not.
male strippers basically get molested nonstop the entire time that they are, at work. Women, especially women with mob mentalities, treat men far worse than, like, for as much as they talk about, like, oh, you have to fear men, you're going to get raped, all this kind of stuff that they promote. Women, when they feel as though they have the ability to get away with whatever, women have problems with accountability. We know that already, right?
Yeah.
And so you go and you put that into a connotation where they think that they can kind of get away with sexually explicit conduct and things like that, and objectify men. Yeah, men get treated far worse in a lot of situations like this than women do. And not to take anything away from the issue that Maru had to deal with, clearly that one guy's problem. But what you're talking about with this guy actually getting mobbed by women and getting
Hmm.
fucking low jacked so that he could be tracked online and stalked. I mean, You know,
Yeah.
and that's just something that I'm just hearing about because we do get into these deeper parts of the conversation on what's going on. You know, like that's reality that we live in.
That's yeah. And again, the reason why that stuff happens, and this is the thing I'm trying to like address, is that we only see male attention, like male attention towards women as predatory. We don't see it as anything other than that, and we can't see women's sexual attention towards men as anything but wholesome or
Right.
safe or harmless. And that's just not true. Like men can be, yes, men can be predatory. In fact, I think the guy who runs TwitchCon probably has some skeletons in his closet. And
Clearly.
and there are others like that we have exposed. A lot of times they're male feminist types, but women can also be predatory. And
Right.
so like we have to be able to like that's like a thing that we have to internalize as people, that we have to understand as a reality. That's it. I'm not even I'm again, like I'm sorry this happened to Emaru and everything, but on another level related to her specific incident is that being famous doesn't make you like you can't guarantee safety.
Right.
I mean, you just
Well,
can't. Like sometimes someone is going to slip through the cracks, and you have to be like kind of an adult about that and understand that there is no such thing as absolute safety, just like
right.
there's no such thing as absolute freedom. Not
Right. And
because we live in reality, we live in this world, and this world is imperfect.
right. And
So
even outside of the realm of um classically attractive people, how many times, like we hear nonstop about male teachers that are sex pests or what the hell ever. But how many times have we seen stories of teachers getting knocked up by their underage students, that are barely even in their teens, and
yeah,
things like that. I mean, the disconnect between the abuses and the way that those actually play out is vastly, misreported intentionally,
yeah,
I would say at this point.
for sure. Yeah, and again, yeah, Taylor Lorenz. Somebody that mentioned in the chat. Taylor Lorenz is the woman who doxed libs of TikTok. Yes,
Hmm.
because he felt emboldened to do that, and she's the kind of person that you don't want talking about issues like this because she's really good at spinning a a
A
story.
narrative, yeah.
Yeah, spinning a narrative towards like essentially the agenda, the
Hmm.
feminist one. So again, like this is an old story. I wanted to catch up to it. So
Give
all
it
I
a
will
little
say
more
is,
context than it's had, because yeah, this is
yeah,
the
and I
most
guess
insightful conversation I've had about it.
she's not going to attend TwitchCon anymore, which is probably she probably shouldn't have attended the last one,
Yeah.
because as I understand it, like one of her security guards got banned after the last TwitchCon, and I'm not even sure what it was for.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I mean, like you should, but like if she doesn't go back, that's fine. Maybe Twitch will have to just like feel it in their wallets
Yeah,
for
she
them
is
to make
seeking
the change.
damages against the assailant, and
Mhm.
more than likely, I haven't heard specifically about Twitch,
I
but
think she said she
also
was looking into, yeah, she's looking into that for
but
Twitch too.
yeah, I heard that she is looking into it, and also because of the recent debacles on Twitch, there is every possibility, because risk aversion is very big in corporate spaces. There is
Mm,
every likelihood that Dan Clancy is on his way out the door because of this, which might be one of the few good things, but they're just going to replace him with yet another shitbag that's going to sit here and run interference for people like Hassan and Alyssa and you
yeah,
know be in league with Taylor. It's just going to be more of the same, unfortunately.
yeah, yeah, for
But
sure.
yeah,
Well, but it's okay. Like she's fine. Nobody was hurt.
right.
I'm sure that justice will be done. And we'll see if anything develops that's interesting. I'll probably bring this back up again. But remember the guy from Sinners and Stardust that nobody's talking about. So anyway, with that said, we're gonna move on to the next story. But first, I'm gonna look at some of your comments. Let me see what you guys are saying. Robert Johnson
I'm
says, "I'm a gay dude, Emaru, literally." Oh, did she claim that? That's that's funny. Ian says, "Bro, shut the fuck up." Welcome to the stream, anyways. Regardless of your colorful language, I appreciate it. Maybe you'll learn something. I don't know. Nova fan says, "Don't forget how Emaru was protected by her other security guard last TwitchCon, and Twitch banned her security guard. I really wish Emaru just didn't go to this TwitchCon." Yeah, that sounds. Yeah, again, I mean, Well, I think she wanted to make that money too. So it's kind of like her. I just don't think that she's 100% innocent in this, and not because I think she brought this assault on herself. But what I'm saying is that if she had issues with them, there was a choice. It was like, do I go to the TwitchCon because I want to make more money and I want to continue to promote my brand, despite the fact that they, pulled this business, or do I take the risk of going anyway? And then, and if you do that, then you have to think about like, okay, well, I put myself in this position literally, and it doesn't mean that I'm to blame for everything, but like, how do you know what I'm saying? Like, if you go into a bad neighborhood and you get your friend gets jumped, and then like a year later you're like, I think I'm gonna go back to that neighborhood. Like,
Right.
even if you get jumped, you're a victim of getting jumped, but you knew that you know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't know, maybe it's because I'm from the hood and I just that's how I process things.
Right.
Robert Johnson says, as a precondition for her having and hosting her cosplay contest, she was required to do the meet and greet. She actually needs a decent manager. There you go. Her manager is a woman and likely a pushover. That's possible. Master Goa says, I can't even stand looking at Dan Clancy. He's literally the My Fellow Kids meme with the Steve Buscemi with the music band shirt and skateboard trying to infiltrate high school. Yeah, dude, Twitch is so weird because you remember when the Twitch meta, as they called it, was just women being basically naked on Twitch? And then you have people like I don't know, there's Twitch streamers that they just sleep. Like,
yes,
they're just sleeping on the stream.
There was a woman who had she was wearing a green screen bikini and playing a game and having the gameplay projected onto her ass cheeks.
Oh yeah, see?
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird the stuff they allow. And of course, Hassan I'll get to in a little bit later.
Right.
All right. If Master Go says if Hassan was there, they would have taken his safety seriously. Norwegian Black Templar says, hi, what's up? Robert John says, which way? I'm thinking sandwich. D503 says, we didn't even know about how women can be violent. Men are terrible at understanding ourselves as possible victims. Yes, I would say yes. Men struggle to be able to see how they have been affected by people, especially women, because when men victimize other men, which is usually how that plays out, we understand that, but we tend to focus on the victimizer or the offender and not necessarily the people who are hurt. Because we see men as beings with agency. So if a man is, like, it's kind of like, Joe Rogan did this thing on his show like years ago where he thought it was really clever. He's like, I got this bit I do when it comes to the men's rights activists. And I get them with this all the time. They'll say, oh, well, men are when you count prison rape, men are the far and away the bigger victims of rape. And then Joe says, yeah, by other men, you fucking retard, as though that's like a gotcha, because it's like, yeah, but those are still male victims of rape. And well, another thing that's worth pointing out, and yeah, I don't have a problem using the R word in this. I don't want to censor myself. I'm not going to be these people that say unalive and SA. And I hate that shit. I hate
grape and all this. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just going to, grape. I'm not going to do that. When men who are in prison for violent crimes, especially rapists or men who commit rape in prison, are themselves usually victims of rape as children. And it's usually by a stranger, like a stranger that's supposedly close to the family, like somebody who's in the house, whether it is an aunt, and I swear to God, this happens a lot. A woman is usually the abuser, but it is also often like men's like boyfriends or something like that. But men who are in prison for violent crime, especially sexual crime, are usually themselves victims of sexual crime at the hands of women. Because when they're children, they're vulnerable. Women will do this to children and people who they have power over. That's usually the reason why people tend to dismiss it, because they think that men are just stronger than women. So how could it be that women would overpower a man and rape him? Not only is it still possible for them to do that because they can drug them, they can threaten them, they can use other means, but they usually do it to children. So like a boy is not going to be able to defend himself. And often he doesn't know what's going on anyway. Yeah. So like if you reverse the sexes on that, no one would be okay with it. We'd all we bury them, throw them in the wood chipper, feet first, right? But because we don't see women as having the capacity to do that. We don't,
Right.
and it happens all the time. I report
Not
on
just
my
children, but also animals as well. A lot of women
yeah,
abuse
yes,
animals.
I know about the dog pill. I know,
You
and
right?
like yeah, I know it, and the horses. I know. So what I'm saying is, it exists, and because
Yes.
we turn a blind eye to it, because we just can't stomach the idea that women can be this way, it only makes that problem continue to exist. But
Hmm.
then we only notice it when a man affected by that problem later on goes on to offend, and then we say, "Oh, look, there go the men again doing that thing." So until we can like mentally like conceive that
Hmm.
women can do these things too, it's
Right.
never going to improve, because that's the only way we're going to see it. So anyway, yes, men have are terrible at understanding ourselves as possible victims, but the thing is, everybody is there. We all have like men and women have a hard time doing that. But I didn't mean for that to like become like a whole thing. So
Yeah.
D503 says she is more famous now. We're talking about Emiru. Probably yes. Um, Master Goa says, I will die on this hill. Hassan is a Fed. He's protected because he preaches the message the current government needs leftism to exist. Maybe. And okay, so and then Zerang says, what's up? Hey, what's up, Zerangs? All right.
Yep.
So we're gonna move on to the next story. Let us know what you guys think about this one in the comments. All right. So Alexis Cote. You guys know Alexis Cote
Hmm.
is leaving Ubisoft. So he was the a veteran executive producer and longtime leader of the Assassin's Creed franchise, was effectively, according to him, pushed out of Ubisoft mid-October after 20 years with the company.
Well,
Cote joined Ubisoft in 2005 as a software engineer and rose through the ranks on the Assassin's Creed team, serving as game director for Assassin's Creed 3. Creative director for Assassin's Creed Syndicate, senior producer for Assassin's Creed Odyssey 2018, and ultimately vice president and franchise lead since 2022. Under his guidance, the series shifted towards expansive RPG style entries like Valhalla and Shadows, which became one of Ubisoft's best sellers despite broader company struggles. His
mhm.
exit came just 7 months after Shadows' success, or at least its release, amid Ubisoft's
Right.
ongoing financial woes and a major restructuring announced in March of 2025.
Right. Calling it a success when they are gutting the creative team there that worked on it and
Yeah,
handing it off to an entirely new
Tencent.
subsidiary.
That's what I was
Tencent.
gonna.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Well, well, it's Van. They're yeah. So it's Vantage Studios, a Ubisoft subsidiary with a 25% stake from Tencent, the
mhm.
Chinese tech giant, um, providing a $1.25 billion bailout.
Right.
Vantage took over stewardship of Ubisoft's flagship IPs, Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six, to write the next chapter with a more aligned leadership. Ubisoft announced on October 14th Cote's departure via an internal memo, framing it as a voluntary choice. Mark Alexis Cote has chosen to pursue a new path elsewhere outside of Ubisoft. However, Cote clarified in a LinkedIn post on October 16th that this was misleading. He was asked to step aside to make way for
Right.
someone closer to Vantage's new organizational structure. He was offered a lesser role at Vantage with reduced scope and influence over the franchise, which he declined, likening his tenure to a Star Trek The Next Generation captain, ensuring his crew's safety before leaving. Cote emphasized no resentment towards Ubisoft, but felt compelled to correct the narrative for his teams.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah, go
doesn't
ahead.
who did this sounds exactly like when Alyssa got herself in a position for saying the things that she did when she was still the managing editor at Kotaku, and they politely said to her, "Look, you can either uh, resign of your own free will, or we'll fire you." And that's
Mm-hmm.
what they, so yeah, take the high road, but then as soon as you're out, then go and say, well, if you're gonna just say it anyways, just get fired, get your unemployment insurance, you know, because I mean that's you pay into it, it's whatever. But this guy, yeah, if you have nothing but diminishing returns for the better part of 20 years of being in a lead productive role, don't be surprised when you lose your job, especially when you're tasked with, this is the last shot effort that we have to keep this studio from a hostile takeover that I still believe was going to happen regardless, because it's their way of getting rid of all the backlog stuff that shows the connections to the WF and the United Nations and the funding model that was developed through that woman from the UN who also has ties to, you know, fucking Kim Bel-Air, and the way that she was spun out from the marketing department at Ubisoft to go and create this Ponzi scheme within the independent game development sphere and all this kind of. So I still think that it's quite dubious. Ubisoft getting bought up by Tencent has led to some very interesting kind of after effects that are currently in play. But this guy losing his job, that's the least of what, you know, should have been expected to happen. You know, like I can't feel bad for him in any way, shape, or form. He took something that was at one time considered a great story-driven title and got turned into Madden adventure game with yearly releases, and all of them with diminishing returns and just being filled up with fetch me quests and just artificial, you know, go and collect this and all that kind of stupid crap that doesn't actually make a game better. It just makes it longer and turns it into a complete and utter slog fest.
Yeah.
And so you can have more, you know, points to like drop in ESG and impact messaging and all this kind of other stupid crap. Yeah, it's insane. This guy, like, he deserves no sympathy.
No, well, no, I think what happened is, like, you know, essentially, Tencent, and this is the thing that China, a lot of Chinese companies have been doing,
Mhm.
and I don't think you can blame China for this. You can
No.
only blame the Western companies for dropping the ball to the point where China can step in and say, well, we're going to buy your company now that it's really cheap, and then we're going to, like, do our own thing, and they're going to make money, because that's, you know, the Chinese economy is not as good as they claim, and they're looking for any opportunity to improve it. And that is like basically buying, it's like buying older properties and, you know, flipping them like real estate people
Real
do.
estate. Yep.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing. And so, and here's the thing, that like Alexis Cote was likely the main reason why all these Assassin's Creed games went as woke as they did. And
Yeah.
I would argue they were always a bit woke from the very beginning, just because of the way they framed the Templars. In the for even the very first Assassin's Creed was a bit lopsided, but I was like, I thought the game was good and it was fine, and I liked the first two, and that was basically as far as I went. But here's the thing that that you guys probably don't know. Well, we didn't really talk about it last time, but Assassin's Creed was going to get another sequel that was just called Project Scarlet, right? They didn't have a name for it yet, but it was going to take place during the American Civil War in the antebellum South, I guess, during the time of slavery, and you're going to play a black guy and, as the assassin, and you're going to be killing KKK members. So it was probably the most on the nose woke game yet, and that project got canceled. I think it was right because of the purchase of Assassin's Creed, or the, you know, these various studios by this other company. And so that game, the one where you're a black guy fighting the KKK, is not going to come out now. Thank God.
Right.
So,
and the sad thing is it's not as though we have a problem with Assassin's Creed having a black lead character. The Black Flag. Well, yeah, Black Flag. One of the spin-offs. It was either a DLC pack where you played as I can't remember the name of the pirate in there. Either way, yeah, his first mate on the pirate ship was a black man, and he too had like his own, and that came out like a decade ago now, and there was no issue. But you know, the way that they have 'cause they always fictionalize certain aspects of history, but there was at some point, you know, there was more respect for the actual historical kind of things, and then they put some kind of weird fantastical, you know, aspects in that, but they generally left the history alone. And but then by the time they got to Assassin's Creed, they were just straight up just trying to reinterpret let's
There was no
we're
way
just
they were
in.
gonna. Yeah, but there's no way they were gonna get this
No.
KKK one right.
No,
Because
no.
you can see all the problems in Odyssey. I've never played these games, but I watched
Right.
a couple of people do some media analysis of Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Assassin's Creed. Well, actually, there was the one in England. What was that one called? Syndicate.
Yeah.
The syndicate was in England, and there's literally a mission where you help Karl Marx. Like that, like these are not subtle.
Right.
Like
Right.
there's a mission where you help Karl Marx, and then there's
I believe
Assassin's
you're a
Creed
brother and
Odyssey, which
sister in that one as well.
yes, and the sister is like awesome, and the brother is
Right.
just fine. And then there was Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which had a lot of like I guess had a lot of like gay relationships, and there was a claim that this was like normal, but it really actually wasn't that normal. Like it was,
Right.
there was claims about the way that the game is set up, and then I think there was issues with Valhalla as well. So there's a lot of historical issues, and the thing is, the main problem with this is that it is claiming historical, at least like somewhat of a historical parallel, right? It may not be history itself, but like if you watch a movie that just takes place during a certain period and you see some anachronistic elements like girl bossing, it's gonna take you right out of the experience. You're gonna know like this wouldn't happen in
Right.
this world or in this culture or under this religion or in this setting or whatever. And it just kills the immersion. And I think people are right to have a reaction to that, like that they don't like it. So anyway, so that was Alexis Cote, and I guess we'll see where he goes from there. I don't know if this is like, I'm not going to say that this is necessarily good for Assassin's Creed or not. It might be dead after this, or I don't know, because Assassin's Creed Shadows didn't do as well as they claim. So all right, let me look at you guys' comments. We're going to move on to the next story.
Yeah.
Robert Johnson says, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say there's also the other Assassin's Creed game that hasn't been officially canceled that I'm aware of, but it's probably just been stalled out in pre-production. It wasn't in full production, but Hex was the name of that one.
Yeah,
where you were going to be the Salem witches.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh God, yeah. See, oh God, that's got to get canceled too. But you know what? If it did come out, it could make for some good cringe material to react to.
Oh, most definitely. Definitely.
Robert Johnson says they are also gutting massive entertainment, the devs for Star Wars Outlaws and The Division as well.
Yep.
Well, actually, my friend really liked The Division. He wanted me to get into it, but I never did.
It's hilarious, that press release on that. They've got 5 different games with Division in the title. And it's like, wow, talk about like, diversity in the Division, like
yeah.
This game is divided up in 5 parts.
Master Gola says, I hope he was also the guy behind Assassin's Creed Unity's crowds. Massive crowds works in Dead Rising because you can end them. It doesn't work in AC because you aren't allowed to deal with the crowd. Yeah, it's supposed to be immersion, but it just ends up being an obstacle, right?
Right.
Yeah, like in Cyberpunk 2077, you can like adjust the crowd density, and I like to max the crowd out, but then I just run through them and I push them all aside. So they're not really an obstacle. Anyway, Robert Johnson says it was interesting to see liberals in Congress get their backs up about the recent sale of EA. It makes you wonder how much USAID's money was behind EA's recent failures. Well, we know that governments invest in game studios, and there's no denying that. So yeah, right. I'm sure that the CIA and like USAID by extension, USAID is basically like the wallet of the CIA. So I'm sure the CIA was funding projects, and you can and I think you can tell which ones. So
yeah, that and black box budgets are generally, the CIA is notorious for creating a private shell corporation that is funded through channels such as that. So that way, because there's certain control mechanisms that the CIA is not supposed to violate. And the way that they get around doing that is they just have a private company do it for them. But it's a private company that they're invested in. Is basically just a shell corporation or what have you. And so, yes, a lot of this stuff is, the CIA is criminals in America.
Mm-hmm.
They took over control in front of everybody, broad daylight in Dallas back in the 60s, and they haven't let go of that stranglehold ever since. So, yeah.
Yep. All right. Mastergoa says it's funny the amount of people I've heard sad because they thought this canceled AC versus the clan game was going to be good. God, he was probably going to be like, I don't know why, but this black man assassin was probably going to be gay. He's going to turn out to be gay or trans or something. So
right. I wonder if he too was also going to look like St. George Floyd and have like a special kind of like.
Well, they already did that with
Shadows.
Right.
But... Right. Yes. Asuke was George Floyd in a samurai cosplay.
They literally admitted they based his appearance on George Floyd.
Right.
Like the guy, the best thing he ever did for his legacy was die, apparently. Because so anyway, it do be like that. All right, so Valhalla released with an optional unicorn and pride themed ship skin. Gay Vikings were a thing, apparently. They're going to revision. Yeah, it's revisionism. Deadly Do Right says it's revisionism through fiction and it's repulsive. Yes.
Yep.
All right. We're going to move on to the next story. Let us know what you guys think about this one in the comments. All right. So I just saw this one this morning, so I don't really have a write-up for it, but I thought this is just how cringe things are right now. This is the real marketing for Mortal Kombat 1. Ugh. I think that's the Mortal Kombat we're on right now. Which is
Mortal Kombat, yes, Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat 1. What'd you say, Mortal Kombat? Oh, because
Mortal Kombat, yeah, Kim Bel-Air is quite literally Cyrax, and Erika Ishii is Sector.
Yeah, so I just want to show you how cringe this is really quick. So this is how they're selling the game. This is the marketing. Deep pockets for infinite pairs of sunglasses. You see these notes? Aura level god tier. If you spend too much time on your phone, just say you're in character. This is just
what?
I mean, I don't know. This is Hello Fellow Kids, the ad, basically.
Right?
Stay away from smoke detectors. Replace your batteries. In case this is Reptile, in case of emergency, can shapeshift into guy who forgot costume. And then for Sub-Zero, become the most popular person at a party, human beverage cooler. Just the worst. Bring your biggest fan everywhere you go. Get it? It's Katana.
Oh.
Mask on, glow up. Mask off, throw up. A lot of hairspray. Whatever amount of hairspray you're thinking, quadruple it. This is like how they're selling this shit.
They're going out of their way to be cringy because I can't imagine anybody actually doing this thinking that people are going to love this.
It's millennial humor. Yeah, I guess. Is it humor? It's bad.
It's post humor.
It's post humor. It's postmodern humor, right?
Right. Yeah. It's like where's the joke? This is just sad.
It's bad.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, Mortal Kombat 1 is that's why Mortal Kombat 1 died. Instead, watch Mortal Kombat Conquest. I mean, the only Mortal Kombat game I actually like is Shaolin Monks, and I wish I have it on PS2. I'm gonna try. I gotta get it somehow like ripped and so I can emulate it because that's like the only Mortal Kombat game I like, and it's like a beat 'em up. It's not even a fighting game. But yeah, I just wanted to show that. Enjoy the cringe. I've seen it. Now you have to see it. It's post humor. Yeah. It's not even. It's just bad. It's just cringe, guys.
Yeah.
All right. So, rest in peace, Mortal Kombat, for sure. It's dead. Okay. So next up, I want to talk about this. So, because everyone's been talking about it, and I think this is something we should be looking at. So there was a recent debate between Smash JT and Colin Moriarty.
Yep.
So Smash JT, if you don't know, he was basically like an independent YouTuber. He has a website called Smash JT where he talks about news in the gaming industry, and he got kind of swept up in the Gamergate 2 thing. He didn't even know what it was when he initially got involved with it.
Right.
He had to like learn about it afterwards.
Right, and now he's one of the central figures caught up in a lawsuit with Alyssa Mercante. And I'm one of. I mean, I'm technically a mod on his channel.
Are you?
Yeah, yeah. But I say technically, I have a wrench. I was on the show
Yeah.
once when he was going through some stuff. I was on one show and I was explaining to him why and how to use Rumble and everything like that. And then this was right before Ryan Roger Thay got deplatformed. And right after he got deplatformed, I think Smash was just in such a state of, just despair about the
Yeah.
situation with Ryan. He made me into a mod, and I talk to Smash from time to time, this and that. But like this Smash puts himself in some interesting situations. I was not there for this the day that it happened, as one of the mods, but technically, yeah, I am a mod on the channel. But
Well, I didn't know about it until I saw a lot of other people celebrating
mhm,
this stream, people who wanted to see Smash fail, I guess. So
right,
but you know what? There was also on the other side, it was kind of like a both sides thing, you could say.
right,
So let me give you guys the context. So Ghost of Yotei comes out. Smash JT apparently doesn't think the sales numbers are legitimate, and
right,
that so I think Sony is not sharing the sales, right?
right,
So they're being a bit vague and it's hard to tell. So he's basically assuming that it didn't sell as well as Ghost of Tsushima and that it was
hmm,
probably a financial failure.
right,
And he makes this claim. Um, and I think it was well, it's what got him in hot water with Colin Moriarty. Colin Moriarty, pictured on the left here, he used to work at IGN. He used to be like one of their big, reviewers. Specifically, I think mostly talked about PlayStation stuff at the time.
yep,
And he is the co-founder of a podcast called Sacred Symbols. He also has done podcasts with Chris Raygun, who used to be a big anti-woke kind of YouTuber way back years
hmm,
ago. He's I met Chris Raygun in 2017 in California, but the and Colin Moriarty's notoriously, because I don't know if his views on this have changed, but notoriously he was one of the people who did this video about gamer entitlement, and this was like
right,
sort of like right before Gamergate really started to kick off. This was where you started to see the games journalists being a bit hostile to the customer base.
right,
And he specifically talked about gamer entitlement with regards to Mass Effect 3's ending. So Mass Effect 3 comes out. I never played the Mass Effect games. You guys probably, if you guys have played it, you can share your thoughts on this. You probably know about what I'm about to talk about. And Mass Effect 3's ending is basically very underwhelming considering
hmm,
all that built up to it. We're talking 3 big games, and there was so much investment in the story, and you get to
hmm,
the end of the third game and it's kind of like underwhelming. Now maybe it's because people had their hopes too high for the ending or whatever. I don't know, because I never played those games, but I felt like what I know about it was essentially identical cutscenes with different colors. So it's basically
right,
like, what color ending do you want, right?
right,
And people were pissed. They were pissed because they invested a lot of time and a lot of money in those games. And Colin basically called them all entitled, and that they shouldn't complain and that they should be happy that they're getting a product at all or something like that, right? So he got a bit of blowback for that
hmm,
from the gamers because they were pissed and it was an issue. Now I don't know if since then he's kind of like cooled his heels on this stuff, so I can't speak to that.
right,
But what ended up happening is this. So there was a debate between Smash JT and Colin Moriarty, unfolded on October 23rd during a live episode of Smash JT's Smashcast. Initially framed as a casual chat about the upcoming Ghost of Yotei, which is the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, the discussion quickly escalated into a heated clash over sales figures of the original Ghost of Tsushima. Moriarty, citing insider sources and industry estimates, argued that the game sold around 9 to 10 million copies, impressive but not the blockbuster some claimed, especially given its marketing push and critical acclaim. Smash JT countered with higher figures, up to 13 to 15 million per
hmm,
Circana MPD data and Sony's partial disclosures, accusing Moriarty of downplaying success to fit a narrative critical of Sony's strategy. The exchange devolved into personal jabs, with Smash JT questioning Moriarty's sourcing, talking out of his ass, and Moriarty defending his transparency while calling out perceived hype inflation in gaming media. So what this, I think, turned into was a clash over the sales of Ghost of Yotei.
Right.
I don't. Is the game out yet? I thought
Yeah.
that.
Yes. It has been out for a number of weeks now. The sales projection that most people are going by is was done by J Viper. Um, of course, they tried to say that Ghost of Yotei was selling on pace and it was doing oh so well, but then they didn't actually release any of the data or anything like that. Dr. Disaster did a video based on the analysis because J Viper he calculates these things,
Mhm.
and he was coming up with the number of 1.7 to 1.8 sub 2 million, and that was after around that was about around 2 weeks of sales at that point in time, a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And Ghost of Tsushima sold 2 million copies within the first 3 days, if I remember correctly, historically, and then continued to go on from there based on word of mouth and just kind of like being this thing that was really visceral and fun, and had of Kurosawa, homages to it. You do the Kurosawa mode, all this kind of stuff. It was actually, it was a very interesting story about a character that people were highly invested in. And once people knew that Jin Sakai was not going to be the main character, and then we weren't going to continue on that
Well,
story, people lost
yeah.
interest big time. And then everything else that came out with Erika Ishii and all that kind of stuff. And
Mhm.
so, and it's just your standard run-of-the-mill gay, angry lesbian, seeks revenge
Girl
plot.
boss. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And so it's not,
Well.
it looks okay. I'm not going to say that it doesn't,
Mhm.
but when that's, I mean, you're on a PS5 system. If you can't make a decent looking game in 2025, and especially with AAA money behind it, if that's
Mhm.
the thing that you're going to try to hang your hat on, we're going to be talking about games later on that are made by independent companies for far less money that look far more, immersive and interesting, and it's not even just because of the visual components, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I wanted to use this to I guess give a bit of advice or like an
Hmm.
observation. So what I think, and like, I don't want to put words in Smash JT's mouth, but what I think he was trying to do, it's like a lot of these woke games, that come out.
Hmm.
They usually underperform in terms of sales. I mean, that's
Right.
just like the pattern. Like, I don't, I can go through the list, but I think we know, right?
Hmm.
And they generally tend to underperform, but a lot of them also tend to be uh sort of like, titles of, they're not sequels per se, but they're titles of on their own, like Outlaws,
Hmm.
Star Wars Outlaws, Dustborn, Concord, um Starfield. Actually, Starfield probably did pretty good, financially, despite its
at
problems
at first, but it
at first. Right? Yeah,
at
people have
first,
lost
but it
interest.
it went off the cliff, and
Yeah, Avowed,
yeah,
Dragon Age, The Veil Guard,
yeah.
South of
Drag
Midnight.
Queen, Drag Queen Age will be a year old next
Yeah,
Friday. It was released on Halloween of last year.
yeah. So the thing, they tend to underperform, and so like what what I think people like Smash AT tend to look for is like the game comes out and he's like, is this game going to do as well as its predecessor? So
Hmm.
especially if it's part of a franchise, right? So I think he was looking at the numbers for Ghost of Yotei, or at least the projected numbers, which again we don't have yet, not really, because Sony is not being very like
Right.
upfront about it. And he's saying this is going to be a failure compared to Ghost of Tsushima, right?
Right.
And
Well, they've already cut the
Colin,
marketing budget
yeah.
completely
So so
for.
Colin is countering in the argument that Ghost of Yotei is a hit and that it is going to outdo Ghost of Tsushima. Okay. Now the thing is, what I would
Doesn't
say
make
to this is that the problem with this is that this thumbnail comes from one of many response videos that people who are, let's say, anti-Gamergate, to
right.
use a throwback term, are using to say, ha, look, you guys, you've lost this one, right?
Right.
You're delusional to think that this game isn't going to sell like hotcakes. But they want this win so bad. They've been doing it for every game, right?
Mhm.
Assassin's Creed Shadows, they were like pushing it really hard. Look at how many players there are, that kind of thing. Very misleading.
Right.
But I
Right.
think that sometimes the games are going to sell better, and that's just because they're writing on the brand itself. They're writing on the
Yeah,
IPs.
nostalgic familiarity,
Well,
yeah.
it's not even nostalgic because Ghost of Tsushima wasn't that long ago. It's not like they're bringing up some like remaking
Right,
Oblivion or
right, right,
something. Like they're writing on the brand recognition to
right.
sell the game, and they don't have to tell you anything about it. And from what I have seen, like you mentioned, Ghost of Yotei looks great. I'm sure it does. And from what I've seen, that like the positive reviews are mostly about the combat. Nobody's talking about a female lesbian protagonist because they know it's not really a good way to sell your game anymore. People are turned off by that kind of thing, so they're focused on the mechanics. And so what I'm saying is, it's probably going to sell more copies than Ghost of Tsushima because it is part of the franchise. And Ghost of Tsushima flew a little under the radar when it came out because it was a brand new idea,
Right,
or at
right.
least like for that developer. I mean, games that feature samurai is not new, but like, that kind of game that was made by those devs with that approach where they were sort of like, doing an homage to Kurosawa films
Mhm.
and these old samurai movies. And they were trying to be as authentic as possible despite not being a Japanese studio. So, like, all of those things made this game, Tsushima, a sleeper hit that later became a big success. It sold copies, but I don't think it happened like day one. It was like
It
it was a
built
big change for that
momentum.
company.
Right, it built momentum, we see that from time to time, like, if a game is actually good, and it's new, it ascends, and it builds up over a course of weeks and months, but there's a very telling thing here with Ghost of Yotei, is, the marketing budget has been completely and utterly slashed. It takes money to make money, and if you have money coming in, then it's all right to have money going out. The fact that they have completely halted any further marketing, you know, this is it's done. Maybe in a number of years it might catch up, but people were demanding, when they're talking about putting PlayStation games on Steam. This was one of the games where it was like, "Yes, I want this for my Steam Deck."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I managed to figure out how to play my, PS5 through my Steam Deck, a long time ago, and so I was playing it, I have videos on my channel, from 3 years ago whenever I was doing it, where I was using, a way to tunnel in and do all this kind of stuff. And I still have considered. I wanted to very much, afford to just be able to just, oh, I'll just buy it again on my Steam Deck,
Yeah.
so that way I don't have to fiddle around with all the silliness. But the way that Cuck Punched, I mean Sucker Punch, has kind of fallen on its face and rake stepped into the position that they're in. When you just look at the terms of the way the development team that made the first game is not the development team that made the second game, which we showed here previously on one of our past
Yes.
episodes.
Yes.
It, it's like night and day. This is the antithesis of the first game. Is the story is as milk toast bland as
Of
it can
course.
be.
Yeah. Generic revenge
It's
story. Yeah.
right, right. It's inflated, just go here, grab that. It's very it's a slog of a grind of go do this thing to unlock this thing to get this thing, and you lather, rinse, repeat 20, 30 hours, and the entire thing is just very straightforward. There's there the big kind of, oh, her family dies, but then all of a sudden halfway through you find out that her brother didn't die, and now he's kind of like, a questionable entity. Can she even trust her? But it's just all cliched hackneyed stuff, and so the
Mm-hmm.
story is just not even there. And because the sales have not been meeting with what they were expecting already, that's the reason why the sales marketing budget has been completely and utterly slashed. I don't know that it will actually, if at best it can catch up to over a course of time to what Ghost of Tsushima did. That's possible, but I don't see people demanding this game end up on Steam Deck outside of you know outside of the PlayStation ecosystem, and PlayStation and Sony themselves has lost faith in it entirely. So I think that the writing's on the wall, and to try to spin that as anything of like, oh well, you're just a culture war and you're just chud logic. No, this
Yeah.
is based on actual people who understand the analytics. Uh, Doctor Disaster, he used to own a game or a game store, and
Yeah.
so he knows people who actually still within that side of it, and his projections based on the projections that Jay Viper works on, they
Hmm.
a lot of people are meeting at the same point who do understand this stuff from an industry analytical level, and all of these people that I interact with, or that have interactions with other people that we're talking about, it's all based on actual sound reasoning. So this isn't just people who just want to believe something. We're looking at, no, this is how you break this down. This is how the analytics would work. This game, it's a turkey. It's diminishing returns. And generally speaking, sequels and whatnot, historically usually sold better than the predecessor. But we've seen, especially in the game industry, over the course of the last few years, all this residual wokeness and everything like that. These games
Hmm.
don't sell. People would rather go and spend $20-$50 on a double A, or just complete indie one person release or small group title that they can get for $50 or less
For sure.
than any of this other slop.
Yeah. Well, look, this is the thing that I wanted to say about this, though.
Right.
What I'm saying is this. Okay, sometimes, like, if you have a game that has, you can still sell a woke game if all the other pieces are in place. So
Right.
a game like Dustborn fails because it's not just a woke trash game, but it's actually just not even a fun game to play.
Right.
So like a game that isn't even like trying anything with its mechanics, like for Spider-Man 2 sold because it was still played well because Spider-Man 1 played well, right?
Right.
So it's still going to make money. And what I'm saying is you have to be okay with that, and maybe allow for the possibility that a game like Ghost of Yotei has enough, because it's not like everyone in the staff is woke and they're all just
All
trying to
right.
cram in some kind of progressive
Right.
agenda. The people designing like the combat system are probably like really enthusiastic and passionate about doing it well. So they're going to release a game that has all of the solid things in place,
Right.
and so it's going to sell better than the original but that doesn't mean anything. Is what I'm saying. Like, don't
Right.
don't worry about that like it's some major failure. Just understand that will happen sometimes. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I'll ask the audience, is there a game that had a sequel that was essentially considered inferior but sold better than the first game, only because maybe the sequel was riding off of the brand recognition? And I could name an example. Dark Souls 2. It
Mm-hmm.
sold better than Dark Souls 1 by not by a lot, because a lot of people were going back to Dark Souls 1, but a lot of people were getting into Dark Souls 2 because they learned about all the hype around Dark Souls 1. But what they didn't know is that Miyazaki wasn't involved with Dark Souls 2.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they ended up with is pretty much, it wasn't a bad game by any means. I think Dark Souls 2 is really still, better than a lot of games of that type, but it wasn't nearly as good as the ones that came
I
before or
I can think of
after.
another one too. Jade Empire, and not
Great
only just
Empire?
Jade. Yeah. So Knights of the Old Republic came
Yeah.
out, right, and then Knights of the Old Republic 2 got rushed out, and so it was in some ways that was inferior, but it sold well. And then Jade Empire, a lot of people were like, "Oh, this is gonna be the greatest thing!" Like they have the guys behind Knights of the Old Republic are it's gonna be awesome. And then it just kind of came out and it was like it didn't have impact, but it still
Yeah.
sold quite well initially because based on all that preemptive hype. And we'll see probably around this time next year when Grand Theft Auto 6 finally releases, probably in November of 2026. It will sell well. That game is going to sell well. It's all a question on whether they actually, do themselves a favor and sell it at $70 at, at, and avoid this want and desire to try to get premium dollars per sale, because they are actually now projecting that there are people outright saying if you raise the cost on this game, you are going to price yourself out of your audience, and you will not get the retention, you will not get the attachment rate at $100 to profitability same way that you would by profiting by volume, by knocking $30 off that price and having, a 30-40% increase in purchases. It will still benefit you to sell for less, but that game is going to sell well regardless. If it is the biggest woke piece of shit that's ever come out, and we all just get hit in the face with how, like people like me who've been saying for years now that I don't know about this thing. It's based on my experience with Rockstar and everything like that. But this game will still, from a technical standpoint, yes, the developers that work in studios that have had their jobs and do stuff on an actual mechanics level, and do the systems work and everything like that, they're just trying to keep their jobs. The people that come in that get hired through HR with stars in their eyes, and they end up generally getting leapfrogged into mid-level management positions, or people that are in middle management were placed there because they're willing to do the bidding of corporate masters and work in unison with consulting firms so that they can all disavow any kind of thing and play it off on, we weren't responsible for that. That was a consulting companies say, well, we can't be responsible for it because we were hired by these people. So, but yeah, the actual devs that work on games, you can still have good play mechanics, everything like that, in a thing that's a complete piece of trash. From a storytelling standpoint. So yeah, I mean, if you just look at this thing just from a mechanics level, I'm sure it's a sound game, but it's also highly repetitive. So if it's not engaging, I suppose once you buy it, they've already got your money, so they really don't care if you complete it.
Yeah.
But I don't see people. I don't see this having the word of mouth.
We'll see, but because we got to move on. I just want to just say that if Ghost of Yotei does sell better than Ghost of Tsushima, it's probably got more to do with the brand recognition than the game itself. And so the wokies are going to call this a win for their woke game without realizing that that's not what sold the game. It was probably the mechanics, probably the combat system, which I heard is got more expanded compared to the first game, and the brand recognition from Ghost of Tsushima, and that's okay. You don't worry about it, because not everyone is tuned in to the numbers, cultural nudging that's going on. So it's okay that just let them have it, and don't whatever you can do, just try not to look like they can make you look like a lunatic. So let them have it. It's okay. But anyway, let's see what you guys are saying, and we're gonna move on to the next story. Master Goa says, I like Smash. Sometimes he plays trailers when I suggest them. He watched Hike Northern Lights when I suggested it. All right. I don't, I'd like to get some of these guys on my show sometime. Master Goa says, Colin is probably Alyssa Mercanti's bitch. I would bet anything that Mercanti sent him to attack Smash JT. Oh, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know if he's I don't know. I don't really know. I thought he was a libertarian or something. So, but a lot of people who claim that don't really actually. Zerang says, so many who played Mass Effect Prime on Xbox dislike the Mako parts. I played it on PC and it was great. The issue regarding the 3 choices upset a lot of people. Yes. Master Goa says, I love Tsushima, but it was slightly woke. It had male nudity, but no female nudity. All the women in it were ugly girl bosses. Okay, so Trickster Not says Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. There you go. If that game sold better than the first game but wasn't quite as good, it's probably because of the reputation that the first game put out there. So Zering says not exactly a sequel, but probably Saints Row the Third. There you go. Robert Johnson says Dragon Age 2 was rushed out, but I cannot remember if it outsold Dragon Age 1. I don't know. I only played the first one. I wasn't really impressed, but I'm a weirdo, I guess. Zering says
Origins was the highest selling one.
Yeah, it might have been. Zarang says KOTOR 2 did have the better story in my opinion. That and Darkseid was so much better done by Obsidian than BioWare, which was cartoonish. All right. So anyway, let us know. Thanks guys for the comments. Let us know what you guys think about this one in the comments. So just a quick nod to the It's Based Game Jam. They just did their Game Jam. I guess they did a video on the Game Jam to over on itsbase.com. And I don't know what the theme was. So I guess here's the stream. They had Andy Pants Gaming on and Ian Crossland. Oh, I'll show you guys. I'm sorry. It's right here. So yeah, Ian Crossland and Andy Pants. Ian Crossland works for Timcast, and Andy Pants, he did a video on masculinity that I thought was okay. Just today. I say okay because I don't know. It wasn't quite how I would have put it, but that's fine. So look, the thing about them is I would say continue to follow them and check out their game jams. For whatever reason, they haven't like talked to me about coming on anymore. I think there's some kind of internal conflicts going on and drama, and as a result, I don't know, maybe they've associated me with an enemy or something. But I telling you, Duke, if you're watching or if you see this, I got no bad blood against you. I want to still help you guys out, but I understand if you guys are just doing your thing. So, but yeah, I just want to give a quick shout out to them. They just did another game jam, and I thought I would look into it and maybe like I'll try to get some of the devs that have done work for the game jam on to talk to them. So, because I thought that they were pretty cool. Anyway, all right, moving on. So Hassan Hiker, I just want to look at this because I think this is interesting, and then we're going to talk about the main thing I wanted to talk about, which is Defect. But just a short video. It's about 3 minutes, a little bit less, where Hassan crashes out and black pills on everything. Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if I can fill the screen with this. Oh yeah, I can. Okay. So let's take a look at this video.
I can't stand any of you dumb fucks in this goddamn chat. Oh my fucking God, I hate the left. I hate liberalism. I hate everything that's going on every single fucking day of the goddamn week. I hate my life. I hate fucking streaming. I hate socialism. I hate every single fucking person who thinks that the peak of activism is just being the most annoying, holier than thou, the most ultimately woke leftist. You did it. You did it. You have unlocked the fucking nihilism within me, okay? I am black-pilled. Nothing will ever get better. We are never going to make it out. We can't even have a normal fucking non-hostile goddamn conversation on any of these issues. Everybody just simply wants to fucking chirp into the wind because they have no power and they recognize their utter powerlessness in the face of unjustifiable constructs that we fucking exist under. And the best possible fucking thing you can do is just be goddamn annoying, okay? Oh, God.
His dog slept through that.
Right when the reporter was asking you about optimism.
I think the dog's probably more black-pilled than he is.
Shut it off, dude. I want to shut everything off. I just want to go away. If I wasn't so goddamn stubborn, I would have a long time ago. Oh my Lord, dude. I 100% think you should someday go on sub-only mode. What do you mean? The most annoying people are literally like the 40-month subscribers. The person that caused me to fucking spiral just now is Hidejo Offliner or whatever. And that is like a routine nuisance and an offliner in this community. Okay? He is a consistent voice of nuisance. Okay? What are you talking about? The people that actually brick me, the people that actually cause me to fucking spiral out of control are always the people that have been in this fucking community for years, who never shut the fuck up. I have banned him before. It's literally just, like, I'm not even singling him out. He's just one example. But this happens all the fucking time, bro. Anyway. One of the worst aspects of like this kind of gathering online is that I think people don't behave like this in the real world. That's unironically what I was talking about. That's why I have so much hope for the future of America when I'm out in the fucking streets, right? Because I see grandparents and I see kids and I see regular ass folk that see right from wrong and they say, fuck this. What do you mean? You're just like kidnapping my neighbors. Get the fuck out of here. And they protest. And that gives me confidence. And then when I go back to the internet and I get fucking yelled at by a bunch of screenager iPad babies who are 38 years old, who think that the most like radical socialist position is to constantly chirp in a fucking Twitch streamer's chat and hyper scrutinize everything and then like refuse to understand like broader points. Okay. Refuse to be open-minded. Then I'm black-pilled again. It's virtually impossible not to be black-pilled if you're online all the fucking time. Everything that we do here is so bad. It's so fucking bad.
So Hassan is black pilled. So imagine being a nepo baby, child of a millionaire that rode horses as a kid, and then you become like a champagne socialist, and you get to go on like TV, you do interviews, you get Twitch to come out and celebrate your birthday. You can't get banned off the platform even if you say 9/11, like America deserved 9/11, and that people who own, like, property owners should die, and the streets should run red with capitalist blood.
Right.
And yet you feel like everything is pointless.
Right.
What? How does that happen, guys?
I think it's because with the recent dog shenanigans and everybody pointing out how utterly impossible it is to explain away at this point in time, because there's a backlog history of his dog since he came into contact with Kaya as a young pup, doing everything he can to just let the mask. He's completely masked off in moments of his complete and utter abuse towards, and it's unfortunate that it has to take a dog to get to this point, but this is the thing that people have rallied on for the last 2 weeks, and he is now completely and utterly broken, and because he doesn't even know how to get out of it this time. He can't just explain this one away, and his simp army is not carrying water and doing the thing for him, because even they're kind of tired of it at this point in time, and every time that they try to virtue signal for him or what the hell ever, it only makes them look just as bad. So he is and we know the woke will cannibalize the woke. That's the whole thing about marginalization and getting into this minority Olympics of I'm the most victimized. They will victimize each other so that they can appear to be even more of a recipient to equity than their other equity brethren and sisters and whatnot. Like, it's just but I love to see, this is the longest clip of this part. I've seen the beginning part of it, but this was the longest clip I've seen that goes into it, and wow, this is it's wonderful to see him actually just utterly just exasperated and burn out on his own bullshit.
Yeah. So I think this is fascinating. So I have this book. I can't. It's not in here. I guess it's in another room. But it's called Nihilism: The Root of the Revolution of the Modern Age. And it describes nihilism as a pervasive philosophical and spiritual crisis, marking the triumph of godlessness in the modern world, drawing heavily on Friedrich Nietzsche's proclamation that nihilism means the highest values are losing their value. Is described as the systematic devaluation and rejection of absolute truth, objective meaning, and transcendent purpose, leaving humanity in a void where life is reduced to subjective, relative, and materialistic pursuits. He views nihilism, it is not the author, views nihilism not merely as pessimism, but as an active revolutionary force that begins with intellectual atheism and progresses through 4 dialectical stages. Liberalism, which is an optimistic relativism where truth is democratized and diluted. Realism, materialistic reductionism, emphasizing science and economics over the spirit. Vitalism, which is an irrational hedonism or will to power, as in Nietzschean excess. And ultimately, the nihilism of destruction, total moral anarchy, revolution, and apocalypse, where all structure collapses into chaos. This is the spirit of the age, infiltrating society to foster moral decay, as logic cannot deny absolute truth without denying itself, making nihilism a false revelation that enslaves individuals to their environment and illusions of progress.
Yeah.
The book warns that without returning to some kind of truth, transcendent truth, nihilism leads to inevitable self-destruction, as seen in 20th century totalitarianism and cultural relativism. Hassan Piker, during a live stream amid the Collargate scandal, so his crash out exemplifies the vitalism to destruction transition in nihilism, a rejection of divine or absolute anchors in favor of secular ideologies like socialism, which should be critiqued as liberal or realist offshoots, promising utopian progress through human will alone, but devolving into irrational frustration when reality, personal scandals, and audience backlash, systemic inertia exposes its emptiness. Piker's black pill despair mirrors Rose's warning of value collapse. No transcendent why sustains the fight, leading to hedonistic venting, raging at his chat, destructive impulses, like, you know, I hate liberalism, I hate leftism, I hate socialism, I hate this chat, I hate everything, I hate my life. He's got a great life, but it's empty. Okay. I mean, he doesn't take account of his blessings. Piker's crash reveals the underlying void under his bleak vision, that, you know, where he basically says, oh, I'm optimistic because I see families, but he's against families. Like, his fundamental ideology is anti-family. So how can you say I see children and it makes me encourage? These things are causing cognitive dissonance, because if you are pursuing socialism to its logical conclusion, then there won't be families. There'll just be villages. There won't even be marriages, because that's how you get the families, or at least, like, if you want to do it in a way that is somewhat orderly, you know. And you're basically just it hinges on rejecting reality,
Right.
and so, like, I think this is why he is despairing, because he is trying to, like, solve a problem. It's not, and, like, this is, I'm not even, like, gonna get into, like, you know, his character, to criticize his character, because people do it all the time. We know what is that he's you know, kind of a garbage person, but if he's going to alter the course, in my opinion, he has to recognize that, number one, you don't have control. Like, we don't, none of us have complete control. None of us have complete freedom, and because we don't, like, we're still limited by what our bodies can do and the laws of nature. You could say the laws of nature, you can say God, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing, okay? And there is no such thing as absolute freedom. There is no such thing as absolute security. There is no such thing as liberation, that is, you know, maximal liberation, because we're all limited. And that you can't control human behavior, human nature. So it's always an obstacle. So it like, this is the thing, like, once you understand that you are not really in control of much, but you do have free will, it's a lot easier to live in the world. And I don't think that he's able to do that. So
Right. I was actually just having this conversation with someone this past evening, going through a little bit of a personal whatever, and I was like, look, you know, you are never going to be capable of being able to control anyone else's outcomes or interactions with you. The only thing that you can actually control is the way that you respond to it, rather than, you know, and that's why it's important to try to have some level of principles and values that guide you, so that you actually are responding to situations rather than reacting to them. Because if you're just caught up in your empty pride and virtue signaling that ultimately is just out of convenience, then, you know, you will find at whatever moment that it's convenient to abandon that, you will, right? And that's even kind of what we see here in that is, you know, he can't even, all this wokeness and everything like that, and all this, you know, I have the moral imperative, and of course I would have to be right. There's no room left for him to, you know, actually stand on and hold that opinion of his, but he's not going to back away from his own narcissism. And so it's not that he failed, it's the system failed him. Right. So he can't even take into account that this is ultimately on his own actions, on his own response and reactions to things as they've happened. Him trying to explain away these things. Oh, you don't trust your lying eyes, and when that utterly fails, then it's even my own the very people that support him through thick and thin. His, people hear me say it all the time on the show. I would much rather have a quality audience than a quantity audience, right?
Yeah.
Because quantity audience is a nice little number, whatever you can hang your hat on. Ooh, look how many people I've got, right? But I would much rather have a consistent quality audience that is engaged with me, gives a shit about what I'm saying, actually wants to be a part of these larger conversations that we get into, all this kind of stuff, not just on this channel, but over on Will's, over on Toasties, people that I, encounter throughout the week from channel to channel, the way that those channels intermingle and, kind of build up and everything like that, and because they find value. I don't, and I'm somebody who also, as I mentioned earlier, I'm, the Alex Jones of the game industry. I do have very conspiratorial minded kind of takes on certain things, and I do oftentimes, get into how, behind it all there's a superficial level that people operate on, and then there's a substantial level below that, that connects to that superficial. And if you're only looking at the superficial and you don't take the time to actually look into the substantial, then you allow for the substantial erosion and corrosion of these things to just stay in play and be strengthened because it's got a blind eye towards it. But even within that, I still have hope for humanity. I kind of lack faith in society at times.
Yeah.
But I still, when people are in need, I I try to help when and where possible.
Mhm.
If people do me wrong, I don't hold on to these grudges. If they reach out to me, and not so much time has passed, like it's kind of, I was saying to somebody, I'm like an old shoe. If you don't wear me for 6 months, it's all right. But if you don't wear it for 2 years, it doesn't fit right anymore. It's not that comfortable shoe that you remember. Because after you
Yeah.
travel a certain amount of time and distance, that thing that you used to be one with, it's not, that's not part of your comfort anymore. And so getting that back, not to say that you can't make a shoe that used to be comfortable that becomes somehow now comfortable again, but it's going to take a little bit more time. You can't just slip it right back on. So with Hassan and his crash out, this really is kind of this thing where he has abandoned his audience a long time in the process. He looks at him as a quantity audience, doesn't really care. If they're going to be critical of him, they're the ones that are failing, not him actually trying to find some level of harmony through the discourse. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's just, it's impossible to think that people are always going to be 100% in line with you. And if you think that's what it comes down to, and if it's not going to be that, then damn them all to hell. Then you're the one who's going to suffer. You have to have some level of humility to do this kind of thing, and a large level of just acceptance and appreciation, and a good bit of humility, and to just be open and upfront and honest. If you make mistakes, don't try to hide it, because if you do, you're just going to Barbara Streisand affect yourself, and only make the situation that much worse. And so until he actually, it's like hitting rock bottom, for addicts. You have to recognize that there is an issue that you need to take into account if you're ever going to get beyond it. And so until he actually realizes that he is the beginning and end of all the situations that he's currently dealing with, he, it's not going to change, especially if he stays online. So at this point
Yeah.
in time, even if he doesn't get banned from Twitch, it would be in his best interest to step away for 6 months, a year, 2 years, clear himself, because he doesn't even care about his interaction with the people that are generally the ones that are going to be the most supportive of him, and
Mhm.
and they're the ones who failed him in his eyes. So like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I just wanted to show
Yeah.
that one. I hope that I don't know. It's just you just need to heal, man. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like you need to heal. So, all right. So we're gonna move on to the next thing. Now we're gonna talk about Defect.
Awesomeness.
So
Indeed.
yeah, this is we covered this like last year or something. Like it was a while ago when these guys are the developers behind this game are people that you, or at least one of them is a guy that you
Back
know
when
from
I was back when we were both still VTubers on this channel, a long time ago.
Oh yeah, that's how long ago it was, huh?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
what's the well, I got a little blurb here. So Defect is a debut title from the independent studio Empty Vessel. And they've been generating some significant buzz following a gameplay reveal at the Galaxy's Autumn 2025 showcase on October 23rd, 2025. The event featured 2 trailers, a cinematic 2-minute highlight reel showcasing squad-based combat in a cyberpunk dystopia, and an extended 5-minute version diving deeper into the 4v4v4v4 PvP mode. Set in humanity's last city under the iron rule of the system, an authoritarian AI, players align with factions like rogue police, loyal enforcers, or street gangs to complete dynamic objectives such as smuggling, assassinations, and hacks. Unique mechanics like body hijacking, where defeated enemies can be mind controlled and repurposed, and fully destructible environments and tactical depth, all powered by Unreal Engine 5 for immersive destruction and chaos. The soundtrack, composed by Doom legend Mick Gordon, amplifies the gritty atmosphere with its signature industrial intensity. So that sounds like really good. So
yes,
it does. It sounds really, really promising. So what say we look at the trailer that you sent me?
indeed.
And
yeah, this is in-game footage. Yeah.
Is there anything? Yeah, it's in-game footage that we're going to be looking at. Is there anything like, I don't know, that you want to tell us about this other than what I read, like some other
like I said, I became aware of this last year initially because all my colleagues from art school that I still have connection with, he made a post, and my friend Dan, who's also working on another independent game designer, he of course was jazzed when he knew Mick Gordon was attached to it, and also he's really good friends still with the guy who's the head designer of this game. I talked to him a few times when we were at school, well enough that we knew each other through Facebook, but I looked at this at the surface level of what is this thing. And when I saw what it was a year ago, I have been waiting to know more, and with bated breath. This would be the 3rd show in a row that I've been on since this trailer's come out. Every show that I'm a part of, I have made sure that I've featured it.
Well, I was gonna definitely show this,
right?
Because I saw the trailer earlier this week, and I knew, because every so often I have it on my wish list on Steam, and every so often I go to Steam and I look at my wish list to see if there's any updates.
Yeah, and when we get done watching this, I already sent you the beta key access in Discord, but I will drop the key link here in the Rumble chat. So if you are not currently on Rumble and you do have access to Rumble account, you should move over here to the Rumble side to get the access.
Get on the wait list if you want to check it out.
Right.
All right. So go to Rumble to see it. He's going to drop it in there. All right, here we go. Definitely got Judge Dredd.
Very much so.
What I don't know is, well, this is in game.
Yeah. This loadout. This whole first 5 minutes.
50 seconds. The system approves infiltration and data harvest. High-value criminal elements control the entire block between Figueroa and Lincoln. Multiple suspects in the stacks. Infiltrate and harvest. I will guide you in. Serve and protect. and the system will set you free. Once you're inside, apprehend and pursue all suspects. The system requires you monitor all fellow officers for deviation. It is your sworn duty to report any agitation, any disobedience, any emotion. The system is always watching.
This is the guy who did the Doom.
Yes. Welcome to the grinder. You think you're brave? Law-abiding citizens, we have guests. 10 floors up for the first slug to bring me to head. If you want to live through the night, stay the fuck out of my way.
That's the first data drive, marked.
Running a bypass.
Stealth wall deployed.
Suspect inside is jamming our system access. Breach and clear the apartment. Weapons hot.
Get your hands up!
Let me see her!
No hesitation.
Please help.
Subject down!
What did they promise you? Freedom? Family?
There are 2 more data cubes on this block.
The system knows. You're one of us.
Not going.
Cover me!
Prosecute. With extreme prejudice.
Fuck you, man!
Consciousness transfer approved.
No! Please, I just need to get up to floor 60.
Alameda PD is tracking multiple gang units converging on your position. Floor 80 and above are locked down. Data cubes will access the system mainframe. Wipe the drive and reboot the block.
Useless bastards! You let the pigs check into my shit! I ought to skin the lot of you! Now slaughter them fucking...
Yep.
Tell the system we are the law. What did they promise you? Freedom, family, the system knows you're one of us.
Is this just the regular?
Yeah, this is the
Call
trailer
this.
from last year. That was the
Yeah, we
announced
saw
trailer.
this already.
So yeah, we've seen this. But
Oh.
yeah, I think that this thing, from what I know of it, the guy who worked on it, which I've now dropped the link over in the
Yep.
Rumble chat. It's he was definitely very good at what he was doing back then, and I fully trust his capabilities, and that was the other reason why I was just like anticipating this being a good release. This is the year of the independent game developer, and just game projects. I don't know if we're gonna really get into Escape from Duckov, but that's game right now.
Look at that. We got some time.
Yeah, it's a game that
But,
you can pick up right now for under $20. Also, that it's an extraction shooter. But it's been a while since we've had like a really. I'm not. I don't care about Call of Duty. I don't care about Battlefield. I don't. It's just.
yeah,
This seems actually fun and interesting, and it's got like aspects of Among Us and weird kind of. Just this is about just fun and insanity.
sure, absolutely, absolutely.
This is just
Yeah,
fantasy awesomeness.
let's run through some trailers. That's cool.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get into the cake. So let me see what you guys are saying. Like, but anyway, that was Defect or Defect. No, like however you pronounce it.
I'm not sure yet, but we'll
both are
find out.
applicable, I suppose.
Right.
And but if you're able, I don't know, like no guarantees, I know, but like I'd love to talk to the guy, that was involved with this.
I did talk to my other friend Dan that I mentioned, who sent me the link this morning.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey man, let him know that we're gonna do a little bit of a hype campaign over on the show today. And he's like, all right, well, send me a link to the show and I'll send it to him. So
yeah, no, this I mean, look, I had my eyes on this for a while. It looks really good. And I'm very hyped for this. And again, yeah, I want to promote the stuff that's trying to do good work. So all right, let me look at some of your comments, and then we're gonna look at some more cake. So, Zerang says, "I still say if you look at pictures of younger Hassan, he looks like Steven Crowder. I much prefer Crowder over Hassan, though. But yeah, I've met Crowder. He's a pretty nice guy, honestly. He was very cool to me. Robert Johnson, it's all project and deflect on the left. Yes. What was that?
We did a coverage of Steven Crowder's
when he did the
black fatigue conversations in the barbershop. And that video, the number 3, because it was 2-part thing that he did, and we covered it in 3 parts. The 3rd part, Toasty. Last I knew yesterday, it was over 11,000 views here on Rumble. So it's clearly, it's the highest watched live stream that I've ever been a part of. And that's how she was able to get over 1,000 followers yesterday. So we had the celebration.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah, things are good.
Yeah. All right, let's look at Escape from Duckov trailer. This is the trailer. It's only a minute long.
Yep.
Is this it?
Yeah.
Wow. There's a demo for this game on Steam.
Yeah.
I'll go double check it.
What was that?
You said that this is multiplayer?
Someone has made a multiplayer mod for it already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I'm not sure where. I just found out about it this morning. This game's only been out for a few days though, and people were like, "Oh, I want to play this multiplayer." And someone, the internet will find a way, right? So,
Yeah.
I can't say that I really ever played Escape from Tarkov, but I hear really great things about it. But then this is just, it's got a level of customization, and it doesn't take itself necessarily too seriously. But the systems in it are really tight, and it looks like it just plays really well. And now there's multiplayer, so
it does.
Yeah,
right,
and it's under $20.
Yeah, and it's under $20. I'm gonna look it up really quick on Steam. But first, this is being kickstarted. It's called The Wayward Realms. I feel like, I don't know if I've brought this one up before. Maybe it's made by a bunch of the devs that worked on
I remember
Daggerfall, and they have far surpassed their Kickstarter. So they were like aiming for 500 grand. They got 800 26,114. So they're far surpassed their goal. And I just want to show the trailer off again. If you liked old school Oblivion, or Elder Scrolls rather, you might like it.
Welcome to the archipelago.
Yeah, I remember this trailer.
100
We watched it.
Did we watch this on here?
political intrigue.
Yeah, but it's good though.
And a multitude of adventures to be had.
Yeah.
Ours begins on Ijar, a remote island in the northeast.
Right. Yeah, that's really good.
We have come to the town of Melhelm at the behest of Lady Ravensworth, stepmother to the local baron in search of information. Rumors have been circulating of strange occurrences around the tomb of Lord Godsend, a former rival to the baron who met his end at our own hands. We were sent to seek out Niles, an informant for the Order of St. Latra. But it seems the door is locked. There must be another way in. Not the friendly sort. Maybe he just needs a little convincing. Excellent. We have the information we need. Now let's be on our way. We have our goal, but there will be some obstacles in the way. It is up to us how we wish to achieve it. Combat. Stealth.
Anyway, I think you guys get the gist of that.
Yeah.
So that's the Wayward Realms, essentially developers behind the old Elder Scrolls Daggerfall. 99% white dudes that like basically lost their job to bullshit, and they decided to do something else. This is The Secret of Weepstone, and this one it just has a really interesting aesthetic. It's very old school RPG. Take a look at this.
People of Weepstone, your lord has fallen
You
ill.
play a demo of this right now too. Now it's
In his
old
half-waking
school
state,
D&D.
he mumbles incoherently of
The old black and
Weepstone
white art, but it actually is the game.
Right.
Are there any among you
wizardry?
willing to delve into that forsaken place to find the source of Byron's torment?
Very hardcore though.
Oh, this is cool.
Yeah. Like I said, it's like very old school.
Yeah.
You there? Who are you that dares enter this sacred place?
And you can play the demo now. The game is out today, so
Hell
you
yeah.
can check that out.
Hell yeah.
It's called The Secret of Weepstone. Check it out. Dean Domino gives us $4.99. Thank you, Dean, and says here are a few titles you could check out: Darkblade Ascent, Welcome to Dolltown, and Paleophage. Okay, let's just go ahead and look them up right here. So, Darkblade Ascent. There it goes. Look at the trailer for this one. I just want a trailer, so I don't want it to be too.
Yeah.
1.0. Let's do the official. I guess this one. Oh, yeah. Looks like it's been out for a little bit, but maybe. I don't know. So there's another first-person RPG, like Oblivion. Looks good. All right. All right. It came out like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Or the 1.0 version, I guess. That looks good. Okay. Let's do Welcome to Dolltown. I'll look at these and then we're going to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I will be heading back over to Will of the Fans right after this for more
right.
Jackbox games. Yeah. Well, I mean, after we wrap it up. Yeah.
What'd you do for love?
Interesting.
Kind of vague, but intriguing.
Yeah.
Looks like, I don't know.
Japanese noir kind of, almost. I almost kind of get like a Silent Hill F vibe from it, but not necessarily because of horror elements. But yeah.
Okay, Paleophage looks like already just saw the thumbnail. It looks pretty tight. Thanks for the suggestions.
Yeah, much appreciated.
This is how badly people wanted a Dino Crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Little wings.
Nice.
Wait, it says coming in 2024. Did it come out? Did it already come out? Because it's it may have gotten pushed back.
Yeah.
This was apparently being showed off in 2023. There was one more thing I wanted to show you guys. I got into this because it was a free demo, but unfortunately the online of this is gone. It's called Yap Yap, and I like games like Repo and Content Warning. So I saw this. I thought, oh yeah, this is gonna be fun. So in this game, you play wizards.
Yeah.
And you have to go into an Archmage tower and do as much damage and vandalism and destruction as possible while avoiding traps and monsters and meeting a certain quota and causing chaos. And the thing about it is it uses voice activation for spells. So you have to say the spells to cast them.
Listen up, guys. We have to go in this wizard tower. We break everything, and we try to escape without being caught. And we have these wands where we can just cast spells and do whatever we want.
Ventus!
Yo, let's go. Run up, run up.
Let's go.
Let's just piss on it. I have a piss wand. Piss, yuck.
Oh, there's one.
One more, guys, one more. Hot two.
Chocolate strawberry. I'm a fan of pistachio.
This couch is attacking. Grab on.
Hella floats.
Oh, that's a
Nice.
This was mine.
The demo is still up, but like no one's online. So I if you download the demo, we can try to like play together at sometime. Anybody who's interested. But yeah, I have it downloaded. It's called Yap Yap, and I got into it. I got to tell you, I played by myself though. I couldn't get into a group with anybody. But if you like Lethal Company, Repo, Content Warning, those kinds of games, you might like it. Yap Yap is a good one. Oh, Peak is another one that I like. But anyway, yeah. So that's basically all of the cake that I have time for. Unfortunately, I gotta go. But John, just real quick, where are you going to be this week?
Well, of course, I guess I'm heading back over to Will of Fans channel here in just the next few minutes. Then later today, after we get done finishing up, we're doing Jackbox game stream over there. Got to watch some episodes of Red Dwarf so that we can do a review tomorrow for episodes 1 and 2 of season 6. We do shows there throughout the week. Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays are the scheduled WTF live days. They start at 9 a.m. Eastern in the morning. Then, of course, tomorrow night we're doing a cosplay stream on Toasty's channel here on Rumble exclusively. That starts at 8 p.m. Eastern. She'll be dressed up as Lydia Dietz from Beetlejuice, and we do streams on her channels at 9 p.m. 8 p.m. Eastern, Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, or Fridays. And of course, I'm here with you on the weekends at 11 a.m. Eastern, for the weekend culture. And I hope everyone had a great time here on the show today. Thanks so much. Always a great time having conversations with you. And I hope you all enjoy getting beta access to this new game that looks like it's going to be pretty sweet. But
I already signed up, so I'm just gonna wait to see if I get approved or whatever.
Right. Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, I mean, it's only through these. I know that you and I kind of got into this with the idea that we wanted to support independent games. So like to be able to actually kind of have this, as something that was really kind of part and parcel to the whole concept of this channel, kind of fall all together. Seems really just extra special. But with that said, though, you all have safe travels ahead. Wonderful week going forward. Of course, be awesome as always, and we'll see you here again next Saturday, unless you feel like popping in on any of those other channels that I do stuff on. Which I'll see you there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks guys for coming on the show. Thank you, John, for joining me. And if you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications, leave us a comment, let us know what you guys think about what we discussed on the show today, and please, please, please share this video because sharing is caring. Thank you guys so much for coming on today's episode of The Week in Culture, and we'll talk to you guys in the next one. Long live Vivian.
With the glass ceiling broken, all the oppressed groups shall prosper, especially the most oppressed group of all, gamers.
I want people in the industry to be a little bit louder about people being mean to other people, and maybe say it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Maybe say we don't want you around if you're gonna be a cunt.
Yeah.
And hateful. And that the games industry is diverse naturally. Not because anyone's making them be diverse, because the world is diverse, you stupid motherfucker. And if you have a problem with that, come fight me. Physically, bitch.
Has anyone taken you up on that yet?
No, because they're all pussies.
Yep.
Down here, salt is a way of life.
Obviously, the environment down here is all salt. The ceiling's salt, the floor is salt, the walls are salt, and to an extent, the air is salt. And you breathe that in, and you can constantly taste the salt.